Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and we're doing a little bit of a twofer review today, because today we're taking a look at from Power of the Primes Wave 2. This is Snarl and Sludge, the final two Dinobots required to make Volcanicus. Spoilers, I am not forming Volcanicus, and I am not showing their combiner limbs. I'm not even going to go through the transformations, because these figures have been out for a while, sorta, we'll get to that, and been reviewed a couple times over. So for the 25 of you that are actually going to watch this review, thanks, and I hope you get something out of it. Like I said, these are from Wave 2, and there was a little bit of a problem with Wave 2. Wave 2 hit, and then it didn't. And it didn't for a very long time. In fact, Wave 3 came out where there were many places that never saw Wave 2. I usually buy my figures off of Amazon. Amazon got Wave 2, and I was able to get most of them, but it actually took me a very long time to get Sludge in particular. And there were a lot of rumors, I'm sure you've heard them, that perhaps Hasbro was not stocking new product while a certain big box retailer was in the middle of its liquidation sales because it didn't want to compete with other retailers. I can't say yes, I can't say no. I'm not an expert, I wasn't there. I'm just telling you what I heard. But regardless, I was pretty much over the Dinobots by Swoop, which was Wave 1. And, well, I do feel an obligation just to finish off the set, so we'll pause and we'll take a closer look at Snarl. Okay, so here's Snarl. Snarl is a Stegosaurus. Fun fact that I recently learned. By recently, I mean within the last 5 years or so. Not all the Dinobots, or I should say the dinosaurs that the Dinobots are based on, existed in the same Jurassic period. Some of them, now keep in mind, existed millions of years apart. Which, by the way, if you look at the Transformers cartoon, the first three Dinobots, Grimlock, Sludge, and I think Slag, were found at one point where the bones for Swoop and Snarl, and I think I might have that, I know Swoop was part of the second ones, were found later on. That kind of can explain that they were on different layers of the Earth's soil, which means they different time periods. But whatever. Here's Snarl. There is a tab on his sword. Can store it in the shoulder. And then you can, of course, peg into the other shoulder the Prime Master Papoose. We all know these very well. And yes, Snarl only comes with a sword. More on that later. I do believe Snarl has been retooled for one of the Terracons, believe it or not, because the transformation is reused. There is also a nice little feature here that the two plates here in the back can fold down, and they have pegs that Prime Masters or Titan Masters can peg into. Other than that, there is no opening mouth. There are more pegs here, and there's really nothing else that the figure can do while in dinosaur mode. So we'll pause, and we'll take a look at robot mode. And here's Snarl in its robot mode. No, I have not put on the Prime Master Papoose, just so you can see the Autobot logo on its chest. Funny thing, because of the design of the legs, if you want it to stand somewhat normally, you have to have the bottom part of the knees pushed up against that front section, and then you kind of have to bend them back a little just to, it's a little weird, almost like a chicken leg type of thing. See, if you have it like this, it looks like he's swaying back, so you got to have him come forward a little and then bring the hips up and you know, that looks a little bit better. But yeah, grumpy facial expression, because, you know, most of these Dinobots were sourpusses until they decided to make Grimlock a little more kid-friendly. But yeah, I mean, it transforms. It's not that difficult, and it's a Dinobot. Did not have Snarl as a kid, so I have no real affection for it. So, yeah, I mean, that's about it for the robot mode. You know, articulation's articulation. You know, it's ball joints, swivels, hinges, you know. It can move. I'm sure some of you can't move enough, but, you know, can't please you all. Let's take a look at Sludge. Okay, and here's Sludge. And Sludge, first of all, let me just say, believe it or not, is a retool of Wave 1 Slag. This whole back section transforms exactly the same way. It's basically the same parts. And I'm pretty sure some of those also got worked into the Terracons that form Abominus. But I think I like Sludge a little bit more than Snarl, just because there's a little bit more here with the mouth can open and stuff like that. But as always, you know, the Prime Master Papoose is included. There's ports all over for shove things in. And unlike Snarl, it comes with a blaster. Yeah. You know, I just gotta say it now. The Dinobots should have come with at least 2 weapons, but realistically 3. A blaster, their sword, and if you remember the original G1 toy, a spring-loaded missile launcher. Obviously, they're not going to do a spring-loaded missile launcher, but a recreation of that in a solid form would have been nice, since they are supposed to be a much more aggressive, heavily armored type of robot. Except for Swoop, because Swoop came with 2 of those missiles, but whatever. But yeah, Snarl is nice. A lot of people will say he's undersized, and that's just, you know, unfortunate. Funny thing is, I do believe these are actually bigger than the original G1 Dinobot toys, so Bob's your uncle. Really nothing more to say about the dinosaur mode, so let's get into the robot mode. And here's Sludge in its robot mode. Same thing with Snarl. I don't have the Prime Master Papoose on, just so you can see the chest detailing. Holds the weapon. Weapon was specially designed just to fit into the fist, so it didn't rub up against the dinosaur paws. And I gotta tell you, it does make it easier to get the hands out from behind the leg. Head is a little bit more limited, by the way, because of the design. You know, Snarl had a little bit of a ball joint action going on. But yeah, I think overall, I like I said, I think I like this a little bit better. It's a little easier to transform. The legs are kind of a bit more normal looking, if that works. Yeah, not really a lot I can say about the figure. I mean, it's basically the same articulation in Snarl and every other deluxe Dinobot. So, we'll pause, we'll bring him back in, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Sludge and Snarl are technically good figures. They transform. They're relatively simple. I had no issues with parts sticking, misassembly, you know, things not tabbing together because of plastic mar, or, you know, the tab was overpainted or anything like that. They hold together. They look like the characters they're supposed to represent. With that said, I feel they're a little underwhelming. As I mentioned during the review, they should have come each with at least the blaster and a sword. I think the inclusion of the Prime Master Papoose, and thus making them combiners, took away from that. I don't think they should have been combiners. I think it's rather stupid for them to be combiners, and very few people are going to actually use them as combiners. I tried to like Volcanicus. I think Grimlock makes a nice torso, but I just couldn't get over that it just looked off. And, you know, there was that. And if you want to see videos on Volcanicus, go right ahead. These were not worth the wait, at least in my opinion. I think it took far too long to get them, but that's a whole nother thing. Had I gotten them sooner, I might have been more interested in them. But right now, I'm just trying to get through reviews and hopefully get Siege starts showing up sooner than later, or even better, Punch Counter Punch, which you know, I think might be figure of the year. And who knows, you might actually see that review before you see this review. But yeah, they're available on Amazon now. They are at most other retailers, Target, Walmart, if you can still find them. They are available online at Hasbro Toy Shop, so you can get them. And, you know, I think I feel a little bad just because I really feel, outside of Grimlock, this is going to be the last time for a long time we're going to see G1 style Dinobots, and I just think they could have been done a lot better. So, this is your old pal Chuck for Snarl and Sludge, patting myself on the back that I didn't screw it up, but then I have the packaging right here to remind me of their names. We will see you next time.